Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Wargame, a Red Dragon replay cast. Today it's a 1 vs 1 on Mud Fight between our blue player, Firestarter, and on the left side, our red player, AmberT. And I always think of that Prodigy song, Firestarter, from the 90s. Such a good song. It's a really weird band. I'll speed this up to the 10x mark, and just as a little announcement, I'll be going to spend a few days in Colorado. So this and the next video I put out will probably be the last one for a good 5 days or so until I get back and get all settled in. I'm going to be up there for a couple days and then just coming back. I live in Arizona, so it isn't that big of a trip. It's like a 12-hour drive, and it's going to be kind of cool. I'm probably going to climb to the top of Pikes Peak, or rather drive to the top of Pikes Peak, because that would be a very, very long walk. And a very hard climb at that. And now the Shook is moving out on the left side for AmberT. And lots of BMP3s on the right with a couple tours as well. And looks like we have a Red Dragon deck for AmberT. And a mixed deck by the looks of it for Firestarter here. Some US, some Germans, and some French units as well. Not really taking the left side, and just going to leave that to the Commandos Para and see what's going on over there first. +1 advantage right off the bat for AmberT. Made a CV, and no CV right off the bat for Firestarter. And moving on to the right side here, just have that Bradley and 2 Leopards. And going to beat these ASU 85s here soon, and should be able to take those out no problem. And the Type 63 Recon moving up. But these BMP3s that are over here can be moving out sooner or later. Where are those? Dropping off all the motor stroke. There they are. And I'm going to be moving over towards those Leopards. And if they can side shot them, should be able to one-shot them indeed. Yeah, only 3 armor on the side. That would certainly do the trick. And going to try and control these woods here. Prevent his opponent from getting just around there. And the town here, pretty easy to hold the town and throw some ATGMs right at the end of the town here. And they do wonders to your opponent. Doesn't really have any right now in this particular deck right now. But ATGMs at the edge of this town is pretty much invaluable on this map. And also has that Mistral there as well for anti-air. And Type 63s are moving over and should be able to spot some of these Leopards here shortly. But now the Jaegers are in the way, in between all this. And this Commander Para are going to be situating themselves over there, going to see what's going on. And going to notice there's pretty much nothing over there from both players. Sort of abandoning it right off the bat there. ASU 85 is moving up, but going to back off. And there's not really much to back off to. But just going to save those. Really just that VAB firing on them. Not too big of a deal there. And +1 advantage still for AmberT. Starting off with that CV, which is kind of a good idea. Sometimes it is not. Then you just have a little bit less resources than your opponent. And so you have to play just a little bit better, considering you'll have 1 less good unit, or 2, depending on whatever you slam out there. And these BMP3s totally blocked by all the sight here. Can't really get at these Leopards right now. 1 Leopard was taken out, I do believe. I don't see the other one. Nope, it is in the wood line there. And I'm going to be trying to move up to the edge, and there are tons of Type 63s all over the place. 11 AP power on those, and 1900 range. And the Leopards 10 frontal armor, so they can actually penetrate those Leopards. Delta still neutralized, as well as Alpha. Nothing really going on there. Now bringing some troops over there. 1A5s going after the ASU 85s, but here come the BMP3s now. And quite expensive to put troops in, but they are so worth it. 35 each. And I really can't beat those missiles. 2800 range on them. 21 AP power, which isn't the highest for an ATGM, but certainly gets the job done. And you can also bring in riflemen in the Bradleys. So they also have those tow missiles. But the Bradley CV has many more tow missiles and is much better Bradley's turned off its missiles for now, so it's not spotted. And Jaeger's going to try and hold the line here. 2 MrSotko now moving in. But the Jaegers have a nice advantage, have those MG3s. Auto fire with this MrSotko, but 2 Type 63 and a couple ASUs firing away. And as soon as they fire, they actually give themselves away. So now they're subject to the fire of the Type 63s and the 85Ms. And here your GR7 with the 4 Paveway 2 missiles coming down on that T-72B1. Not enough to take it out, though. They were all HE power, 10 of them, or 4 missiles with 10 HE power. Not quite enough to take out that T-72B1, even though all 4 of them hit it. Leopard shows its ugly face for a moment there, and the BMP-3 fires, but just gets out of there and sends that missile off. Conker's trying to shoo that AMX-10 and the VABs out of there, but nothing going on too much in Delta. It probably could be taken there by Firestarter. Just put a CV at the back, but hard to actually CV Delta. I'm not surprised that nobody's really tried to do that just yet. Now we have a Few-Rings UAZ coming in from AmberT. Foxtrot has been captured by Firestarter in the back. And looks like this Few-Rings is going to be placed either in the corner or here in that little tree line there. Once again, pretty hard to hold Delta. Usually people just slap it as far as they can in the corner or put it in one of these tree lines here, but pretty easy to see it. Also has Alpha there for AmberT now at +2 advantage. Now Firestarter will either have to get rid of these CVs or simply neutralize Delta and or Alpha. And looks like some mortars coming in here, trying to get at that CV. And pretty much direct hits there. Gonna have to move that out of there, and we'll neutralize that for a moment and only give a +1. Additional BMP-3s coming in from AmberT. And I believe it's 50. It costs 50 if you have MrSotko in your BMP-3s. So it's not really necessarily efficient for the actual MrSotko, because 50 cost MrSotko is pretty bad. But you do get the BMP-3, and that's pretty much what it's all about there is the BMP-3. And Harrier GR7 tries to hit the area there, only gets a BMP-3 and loses the GR7. And the GR7 is 120 for really a 35 cost vehicle. Not a very good trade there. Gets shot down by the 2 Tors. And I'm still surprised there really isn't any ATGMs in the edge of this town. Maybe he doesn't actually have any in this deck. I have not checked out this deck that he's using yet, but again, I will put it in the description along with AmberT's as well, and you can copy it and check out their decks if you would like. And again, you can pretty much do that with any replay. You can just actually open the replay in a WordPad, any replay that you download, and you can actually extract the deck information from any replay. So just to let you guys know that. And I suppose while there's a slight lull in the battle here, might as well talk about the 4chan 3vs3 tournament, which is pretty much dead. I'm pretty sure it's dead. I actually don't want to say that because I'm not really an official of it, you know. I'm just really casting it. But the Steam forums and discussion about it doesn't really look too good. It doesn't seem like anybody really is caring to play it all that much, and not really sure what happened. And I thought it was a really good tournament. I was actually really enjoying it. And there was only 2 games left. There was a final 2 teams that would decide the actual grand finals. So really just 2 games left in the tournament, and I'm not sure if they're going to get played, but if they do get played, I will make sure to cast that and put that on my channel, and it'll be pretty blatant. You'll know what it is. It'll be in the title. And Leopard A5, 1A5s, trying to move forward here, but gonna get busted up here by the BMP-3s. T-55 doing pretty well as well. Equal armor, and the BMP-3 takes out that Leopard. Not too big of a loss. Only a 60 cost tank. Still +1 advantage for AmberT. Neutralized with a Furungs group in Delta, but now needs to get Alpha as well. And we'll need to try and continue hitting this Furungs UAZ in the back there, and could be hitting that with his mortars and just trying for it. It's got to be around there somewhere. Pretty much is pretty much the only place you can put that in Delta. But really, you can just pretty much artillery in the area and just keep trying, and you'll get it eventually. And now loading up Alpha here with AmberT's troops, as you can just pretty much pour troops in from either side, and it's a real good place to have a troop battle over an Alpha, as all the site is blocked constantly by those tree lines. And Mott shoots in, moving across the way. And the BMP-1 SP-1s, 73mm, moving forward, and just Commando's Para in here, and some Jaegers just now coming, but they're going to be a while before they get there. Now 149 to 0, and those mortars firing away and smoking, and I think these Jaegers are trying to push forward here, but that's not enough Jaegers really, so I'm not really sure what the smoke is going to be accomplishing at the moment. It's going to be stopping the BMP-3s from firing, but not really anything to fire on. Got the Bradley here, and you can make a really excellent push in this game and really just get a bunch of cheap units. You either get Jaegers, or if you happen to be US, just a bunch of regular riflemen, anything like that. Your cheapest riflemen in whatever particular deck or nation and such that you're using. And you just split them up. Make sure they're not actually in a group and not like 4 stacked or anything like that. Just make sure they're in individual groups. You can actually hit Control-C on your groups, and it will split all of them. For anybody that doesn't know that, I'm sure there's somebody that didn't know that. And then just push all of your troops and sort of spread them out and push them all out in a line, and then your tanks in the back will actually hit all of those units in the front when your opponent's units fire on your actual infantry there. Sort of like now the BMP-3 is actually showing itself, and if there were tanks here, I would have taken out that BMP-3. And now backing out here. And the smoke is going to be somewhat useful. Those Fuchs were in the back, and a little bit late, though. The smoke isn't going to last, shouldn't last too much longer. BMP-3 is still firing away here. One of them still has sight, and this one as well. And this one fired, I think, once or twice as well. So these Jaegers really didn't make it across there, and I think it just, the smoke simply just wasn't really timed right, and it wasn't completely covered. It is blocking some of this fire, these random BMP-3s and such that are scattered around. And now the battle has begun over here in Alpha. Mott shoots into found the Commando's Para, and the Jaegers on the wrong side of the battle here. However, they're going to be protecting the Fuchs. The CV troops, they're going to be dropped off in Alpha there. And AmberT will notice that will get neutralized, so there has to be a CV in it, and it's most likely, of course, going to be right here because he has troops right there already and knows that there is no CV there. So he's probably going to automatically know that it's over there, and we'll start heading there shortly. However, he still does have that 179-point advantage, so really he can afford to have this zeroed out right now. And it's really not going to matter so much to him. Right now, the game is on Firestarter, as he actually has to be the one to get rid of these CVs to start to catch up. And right now it's just pretty much on AmberT's part with these, with such a high advantage like that, just to be defensive and to hold whatever he can. However, this Furungs may go down here. This is pretty spot on with that mortar fire, and one direct hit should take out that UAZ there, and it does. And that was an absolutely direct hit. Hit it right in the center. And so now a +1 advantage for Firestarter. So that's exactly what he was having to do. He actually had to be the offensive one and take out a CV to start to win this. But however, AmberT is pushing up everything. This is an attack move, and this is sort of what I'm talking about, except you would have a lot more troops up front. And now you can see these Leopards, LAV Scouts, all of them firing, and your tanks in the back will spot all that because it's giving themselves away by firing. And all of this is now firing and taking out all of Firestarter's things. I do this all the time. I think this is actually a really great way to push. As much as you really can't just push across open ground in this game, you actually really can. Again, just use a whole bunch of troops, and the troops are just fodder. And again, if you spread them out and you don't have them in a group, that means only one tank can actually only fire on one squad at a time. So if you have 5 or 6, even 10 plus squads moving across open ground, it takes a while to kill them. Now it looks like AmberT may actually take over this wood line here, and I think he had it earlier, but was pushed out of it. I'm not really sure. No, actually, Firestarter had that right from the bat, right off the bat there with the 185s. Jaeger's trying to push in, but the mod shoots have pushed all the way up here. I actually didn't see this. They must have pushed all the way up through here, and are now going to try and get on the edge here. So whenever he brings in any kind of infantry through there, it's going to get hit by those mod shoots and right off the bat. But either way, Alpha is still neutralized. Not really going after that CV. And this Fuhring group is in trouble here. All of this stuff is very close. This ASU 85 is stopped on the ground. It is completely out of fuel. So close, yet so far to that Fuhring's group, but just can't quite make it. And it is hidden at the moment. Nothing can see it. If that ASU 85 moved up just a little bit, it would probably start to spot it. But it is out of fuel, just short of its destination. And now it's going to come down to the town here. AmberT actually able to push in all the way over to the town. And that's somewhat unusual. It's very easy to defend this town over these mod shoots, and probably won't last all that long here. As we have some Fusiliers here, and the Erics could also move up there as well. Leopard 85 nearly taken out by that MiG-27. MiG-27 failed big time on that one. As the MiG-27 is usually very, very excellent at taking out tanks, particularly even super heavy tanks. So that Leopard got very, very lucky on that one. Still +1 for Firestarter. 47 points. Was down 179 points. Now starting to catch up. 30 Mott shoots and trying to make their way into the town, but stopped just short of it. And are now trying to deal with the APCs pushing up. However, all these T-55 are able to fire on these APCs as they start to fire on the Mott shoots. And so they are pretty well covered. And now down to 19 Mott Schützen trying to get in there. Now the Mott Schützen going back the other way after getting to the edge and going right after that CV. Definitely knows where that CV is, or at least has a good idea where that CV is. It's pretty obvious. As he was fighting there, was no CV, so pretty much has to be in that corner. Jaeger's trying to hold the line here from these Mott Schützen, but at the same time they're on the edge and getting pummeled by these 3 T-55s, and they do have a quite slow fire rate, only 7 rounds a minute. So not too particularly lethal, but Mistrals are going to be on the edge here and going to go after this KHS and might be able to finish it off, but they're getting pummeled by those T-55s, and he has to back out, unable to get that chopper. And this Fuhring's group is just barely holding on. 2 men in that squad are holding Delta at the moment. Now Fuhring's UAZ has been brought in once again by AmberT. Zeroes the game out once again, 70 to 179. Just gonna have to take out this CV here once again in order to start moving on up. And it looks like he's doing that just now. He's got 13 rounds left in this. And a 0 in the other one. And he's actually attacking with it, and it has no round, so I think it actually might be going forward to try and attack with its MG3. It's probably not intended. Either that or he's moving up to this stalwart here to gain some more of those 120 mils, and misses the UAZ. Causes it to move for just a moment, though. Gets I think 4 additional points. Not really sure, actually. But either way, got some, made it move. And now pushing those infantry across some Mott shoots and trying to make their way towards that Furong's group, and I'm not sure if these Machutsen seen that or not, but they did definitely see this VAB. They're going to go over there and get that. Otherwise, these Machutsen here are just going to get blasted away. And the VAB gets RPG 7'd, apostrophe ED. The Machutsen moving in. And 2 Jaegers, three Fuchs, DPZs. Try and hold that off. That's going to be kind of difficult. This Furong's group might be a little shit out of luck. We're going to be backing up here. That T-72B1, forcing it on back on the Type 63. Fighting Falcon bombs the area there, but the T-72B1 is completely unaffected. 1 bomb hits right in front of it, 1 hits right below it, and makes a good-sized crater in the ground, but completely misses that tank. One very, very lucky tank. Once again, trying to defend the town line, and now bringing up those BMP-1s to the edge. Firing in, only 1 Jaeger left, some Erics, and the Fusiliers as well. Commando's pair could also move up if they had to. And it looks like over here, the Machutsen are nearly at that Furong's group. Furong's group had to run to prevent itself from being taken out. He definitely knew that that is there, since it is running away. And he now has the zone at a +1 advantage, so now 192 to 74. Leopard here gets some flanking shots in. Those couple stalwarts there were all out of supplies, and he does not have a fob in the deck, so he's just moving forward there. So I always like kind of having a fob, and you just move your Urals and your stalwarts, Hemmets, what have you, back to your fob, reload them, and then move them on back out. Saves you quite a bit in the long run. And Grotel finishes off that MiG-27, but the MiG-27 takes out the Leopard, and I'm not sure if that was really particularly worth it, taking out the Leopard to lose your MiG-27, especially that cheap of a Leopard. Not really quite worth it, but if it tactically allows him to get into the town, then it would be worth it. So pound for pound, not worth it in terms of the cost, but if not having that Leopard there allows him to get troops or anything else closer than he would normally would have, then it certainly is worth it. And once again, why I like Conquest over Destruction is that you can do things like that, lose an expensive unit to take out a cheap unit to allow you to actually take over a territory, whereas Destruction, that would have been a very bad move and not worth it at all, and really wouldn't have put you for any further in the game at all. So I like Conquest. It's a little bit more tactical. Sometimes, sometimes you give up an expensive unit and you take out a strong defensive position, even though it was weaker than your actual unit that you lost. But if you take over the territory, then it certainly was worth it. CV was destroyed there by Firestarter, by those mortars once again, and now the zeros the game out stops. The points for AmberT there. And moving that Furong's group all the way around, he's going to move that all the way around and then put that in Alpha in the other side. So a very nice move there. I really like that. And now Machutsen have made it into the town, finally. I think this is the first time he's actually made it into the town, other than I think he had some Motostraki earlier, or Machutsen that made it here, but there wasn't that many of them that actually made it into the town. AMX-10s getting wrecked up here by the T-55. Leopard should move forward just a scotch and probably take out that T-55 for the AMX, or at least give it a good what for. Jaeger's now in the town here, and some more just about to come in here. 21 Mott Schutzen have made it all the way to the edge there to try and take out some of these APCs as they're coming in, but not really going to happen. And these Erics here will be released soon. And now a big push moving on in here. It's got a lot of BMP3s all along the outside. So no armor really is going to be able to show its face in this area here. These BMP3s will smack it away and discourage it, if you will. And now that Führer's group has made it all the way into Alpha, and now +1 advantage for Firestarter once again, as he still has his Führer's group holding on. And may not be for long. Recon moving up on that Führer's group here. And definitely spots it now. It is spotted, and the T-55 ASU take that out. No more CV in Delta at all, and we have a Ural CV, carrying CV troops rather, into Delta here. So he'll be dropping this off shortly. And where is he going to be doing that? Possibly in the woodline here, or hedgerow, if you will. Tree line. And so we'll give the +1 advantage back to AmberT for now. And the town is completely overwhelmed. But, well, not completely, but 17 men to only a few here. A couple Mistrals, which really aren't going to do too much. And now the town looks like it is nearly lost. There aren't too many Mott Schutzen, but if both of these move up and hold the front line there, it's going to be very difficult to get troops actually in there without firing on them from afar. And here comes the Fuchs with some additional Jaegers. AMX-10 getting shot at by the T-55 and decides to back out of there. Only 5 shells left in that T-55. And now AmberT, a commanding presence, nearly made his way into Foxtrot here. Has some units in there, but making his way slowly but surely. Now the town completely overwhelmed. And that is game there. And Firestarter has to GG out. Lost the town. And pretty much means you lose the map. Not necessarily, but losing that town, getting that back would have been way too hard. He was way too far behind. And I think there was only about 10 or 12 minutes left in the game, something like that. So didn't really have too much time to win the game. But pretty good game regardless. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.